I take you along with me and show you the things I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a different career job today. I'm gonna be going to an event to take some photos, and I like to take you with me. I wanted to come up here to look at my breakfast. This morning we went to see a sofa somebody posted on Facebook, and I think it works for our house, so we're gonna go tomorrow and pick it up. And right now we need to get ready to go to a photo shoot. This is with a modeling agency. They're asking local photographers, and they're models, I think they're like newly signed models that they don't have much of a portfolio, to work together. So we're gonna show up, and they have different rooms, apparently different areas, and they divided us. So we're gonna get into teams. Each looks like different locations are gonna have about 3 or 4 photographers, but with about 9 models in each area, and we're gonna rotate. That's our plan for today. Short, and because of that I thought I would take advantage of the opportunity today while I'm editing the photo still for this event, and talk to you a little bit about how I stay on track, on schedule, and I'm able to do so many different things. So if you are interested, please keep on watching. So I have a few academic degrees. I also have 3 businesses and that I run, and I pretty much work all by myself. And from my perspective and my personal experiences, these are the main structures that helps me stay on task and be disciplined. And I'm just sharing what has worked for me personally, and I'm hoping that you're able to use some of this, or at least get familiar with my framework and how I'm able to maneuver through various different deadlines and make it through every week. So one of my struggles has, as someone who has a day job and also does their own business, is staying on top of things and not feeling so overwhelmed. I think what causes overwhelm is either having too much to do, or when an event or life just happens. And the way that I maneuver through it is literally doing one thing at a time and prioritizing. So I have a big vision for my year, my month, and my week. And what helps me a lot is to minimize the goal as much as possible. I try to start with 3 goals, and then I monitor that week by week or month by month. And if I'm seeing like I'm not progressing in any of those items at all, that is a sign that I am having some resistance, I'm procrastinating, and so I reduce the tasks. I work out of Notion, and I really like this app, or the system website, the Notion app, because it allows you to store your thoughts there. So I know that I have still all of my tasks that I want to get done listed there. So it's not going to go away. I'm not going to forget it. And then I start working through one that is the easiest for me to get in, start it. So I would recommend to start with a task that is much more doable for you. You can foresee yourself completing it first, because it helps you mentally to make little wins rather than working out of the huge, most difficult task first, if that makes sense. If there is a life event that caused me the overwhelm, I literally stop. I try to minimize the damage as much as possible, so I just work out of my prioritization list. So my day job is most important because it provides me the stability of my paychecks and my healthcare. So that's my priority. So when things goes wrong in every direction, which way, so I try to eliminate every possible outcome that is pulling my energy away and just focus on my day job. And when things gets a little bit better, so I try to insert little by little based out of prioritization. The other thing I think helps me is to realize what is the definition of success to you. For me, success is the results. I try not focus on the process as much. I try to minimize the length of the process, so the fastest I can get to the results. So that's the success for me. So to make the customer happy, for example, get the pictures that I need to take, finish my projects and reports for work. So focusing on the results for me helps out a lot to just get energized. And I try not make a routine of like I need a certain framework so that I could start working. So as long as I'm in bed, if I'm in pain, I'm not having the best day, that I don't have my teas and coffees ready to work, it doesn't matter. In every circumstances, I'm able to push through and drive, because the result is the most important aspect of my framework with success, if that makes sense. I hope it does. The other thing is committing to yourself and being disciplined to finish the work. One of the mottos that I have is that I can complete work, I can do difficult things. I remind myself often that is my goal in life, to finish what I've started, because I know the positive feeling it gives me once the job is completed, and I try to just live at those moments. So whenever I'm starting a task, I just try to imagine myself that relief when the project is over, when I've submitted my task, when it's the pressure is off my shoulder, and I want to get to that moment. So focusing on that result and that feeling that comes with it. Having said that, I try to stay away from being too emotional when it comes in starting a task. So a lot of it, I try to just look at myself as someone who has been through a lot in life, and as someone who has suffered. He has weaknesses and strength, and I always try to just kind of be a nurse for myself. And I'm like, this person is tired, has done so much in life, but has so much responsibilities that is needed of her. And we need her energy, we need her to work, so how can we work with her? So like I try to just kind of like plug in, like if I'm very tired, just came from work and I'm resting, I'm like, okay, so you've had 30 minutes of rest. Maybe you could just do a little bit of this task, so tomorrow you will feel better about it. So things like that. And I'm trying not overdo her to do like all of it. No, you're just gonna do a little bit of it, like maybe another 30 minutes of just reviewing your tasks. So that's another thing that helps me of looking at the huge amount of work that I need to do at the very beginning, what I need to do. Maybe the first task would be just to bring my textbooks out and just flip through them, figuring out like how many chapters there's going to be on this agenda that I need to do, right? So speaking of agenda, if I need a meeting that I need to create agenda for, I'm just going to open it and I'm just going to do what information I already know, which is going to be the date, the people that are going to be in that meeting, and I will keep the difficult parts for later. But this is how I get myself into it. And once you start, you're like, oh, it's fun. So you get through it, right? The other thing that I do when I try to get into a task is listening to a podcast or music, and I have several different pathways that I go through. So I have a playlist, for example, that I have curated, and this is for when I just need some good feeling energy. So whenever that comes in, I know that it's like me working hard towards like what I'm working on. When I'm in the phase, I can listen to an audiobook. If I feel like I need to feel warm and fuzzy, there's this YouTube channel that I watch their videos. There's about like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 members of a family. Each one of them have a YouTube channel, and their videos are so wholesome. They're just so sweet and kind to each other. And whenever I feel like I just need some good vibe energy, it's talking in the background to make me feel like, you know, I'm not just sitting behind a desk and working away. So I just put that in the background. It feels like I'm surrounded by love, energy that I really enjoy. So I have different sources of materials to run in the background to help me motivated and want to work. And of course, I have one for stay on focus. So when I'm doing like spreadsheets and numbers, and I have to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes, so I listen to that. And what that is just a loop. It's so boring. If you listen to it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, it drives me insane. But you know, when I'm working on a very difficult tasks, so my brain wave doesn't need to get so much distracted. So this is a loop song that keeps going for like 3 hours of the exact same melody. And so that helps me out to get my brain wave very, very focused and work on that. The other thing is to always bring water with me when I'm working on a difficult task and just sip on it. I noticed that when I have the straw in a cup, I drink a lot easier and quicker and staying hydrated, because I feel like my body, I'm one of those that I'm just kind of like rooted to the ground so much, and it's hard for me to get my body moving, and like water and hydration helps some movements in my body when I'm working hard. The other thing is a smell. So I have little perfume I can show you. It's small little perfumes. They're very affordable. I got them on Amazon. I think there were 4 or 5 of them. The smell is pretty much similar to one another. So I carry this in my pencil case. And this is a smell that I need when I'm really, really suffering. So I use this. So I use this when I'm really in a flow, everything's working great. So in those moments that in life that I need to get into it, so with a little bit of a smell, it helps me to get into like that good feeling energy. So I use all my senses. I try to fool my body in different ways. So this is the sense of smell trigger that helps me out. The other thing that helps is to have ergonomics. So pretty much anything that you need to complete your task to be around you, right? So I'll bring snack, water, and I put it next to me. I will make myself very comfortable. So if I'm working on a very difficult task, I just wear comfy sweatpants, something that I can stretch my legs. I know I'll be sitting down for 3-4 hours, and I want to make myself comfortable so I don't have to step up and out of my desk often. So I have a throw with me all the time, or a little light jacket. When it gets cold, I can quickly put it on me. So I try to plan out for another like 3 to 4 hours that I'm working on a very difficult task, that without distraction I can sit down and complete it. So the only break that I take is to go to the bathroom, nothing else, and remove all the distractions, put on my playlist, and just go with the flow. The last thing I want to talk about is negative self-talk. I feel like it was part of my generation. I feel like it was the way the parenting was done in our era, because I see a lot of people that suffer with the same, not much on the younger generation, but like my generation, I feel like it's a common practice to experience that. But maybe I'm generalizing, maybe it's still happening, unfortunately. But our negative self-talk is created by our parents, the way that they talk to us when we were little. So as a child, your dream and hope is to be loved and cared by your parents. And that is all you want. You want to be a good boy or a good girl and be loved, because their love is not just like fantasy love or just, out of ordinary. It's your survival. If you're not being loved and accepted by your parents, that means that your chance of survival gets lower. You would think like they will kick you out of the house. They're not liking you, so they're not going to feed you. So it's very, very tied into your psychology and instincts, that you need to be accepted into this family. You can survive. So for that, when parents are not understanding their responsibility, they're not understanding how much the happiness of their kids is up into the way that they talk to the kids. The way that we talk to ourselves is pretty much modeled after the way that they talk to us. And it takes a lot of effort to, as an adult, to kind of weave through and find out, like, okay, whose voice is it that is in here, right? For me personally, time had a lot to do with my healing with that negative self-talk. So when I'm getting into a place where I feel like, oh, it's just too much, I don't think I can do this, I'm not good at this, I try to just weave it through and see, like, is this really true? And I try to remind myself that nurse that I told you about, that nurse voice comes through. Look, your track records has been pretty positive. You have gone through this and this. And I try to just bringing a lot of perspective that may not be obvious to me, but I try to advocate for myself through that nurse's voice that's taking care of me. And I just take care of myself in that way. I literally imagined this nurse is taking care of me physically. She's sitting next to me on the bed and she's like, don't cry. I hug myself. I give myself a warm tea and I tell myself that everything's over. What you went through was very difficult, but you came out of it and life is so different now. Just imagine like you went through a war zone, you went through like really negative experiences and it's over, and how does that feel like? For me personally, because of my life, I feel like that's what it feels to me, that whatever trauma has happened in my life in my childhood is over, and I'm still like adjusting. Like I have a lot of like default behaviors that was like, working towards me protecting myself. I'm realizing I don't need them anymore. Like this is a life after the war has ended, and how are you trying to adjust back to the society, trusting again, loving people, opening up to opportunities. So I do need this nurse next to me to talk to me about things. And this is how I get through negative self-talk. So when I'm like, but you quit before, like, no, it wasn't all that went through it. There were other reasons. I tried to talk to myself in a way that it's kind, respectful, and just a lot of kindness and love. And this is how I get through the negative self-talk. Now I'm a very visual person, because I'm just, I'm a visual learner. The way that I process life is very visually. It's imaginative, but whatever way that might work for you, you would know if it's like, you're auditorial learner, so you could, record things, and in the time that you needed, you could listen to it, so someone's physically talking to you. So or you can write things to yourself, letters, notes, so in those moments you can go ahead and read those letters to yourself, um, and get you back on track. But whatever it is, the fun part of it is getting to know yourself and knowing that you're honestly a good person. Every one of us is trying to survive, and whatever has caused this negative self-talk, it had some survival reasons for it. It can get swayed in different directions that is not fair to you, or people are surrounded by you and want to experience you fully with love and care. So just realizing, like, it's over. Whatever it was that caused this negative self-talk, and you're capable of doing a lot more than you can imagine. And you just have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because changing your routines, it can be difficult. But once you get comfortable with it, once you're accepting, and you're open to letting go of the old strands that holding you back, you will realize that it's not as bad as you thought it was, and things are going to get into a different role and a pathway for you to get through. One beautiful example of someone said to me was that life is a puzzle. So the purpose you have for your life, for what you want to accomplish, it's that 5,000 pieces puzzle. All you see is a picture, right? So like, oh, it's going to be a waterfall puzzle, or it's going to be I don't know, like a food picture of a food. You're going to get to this result, right? Like a pancake puzzle. But once you start and you see all these pieces on the table, you don't know where to start, right? So you start to have some strategy. Some people start with the edges of it, so they start structure. That's who I am. I usually do that, but some people don't. They look at the colors. So they're like, okay, the pancake syrup is this shade, so let's find all of the puzzles, colors, and that, and you just cluster them together, right? And then some people work with whatever they find. How would you start that? And that's your life and your task you're working on. The big picture of it is like what you accomplished through your life, right? But it can't happen in one instance. It takes hours and hard work of little clusters. One is your career, one is like finding a partner, one is, I don't know, like your social life, and the other one is your fitness and health. And so through working on each one of these puzzles and fitting together, you're able to make your big vision for your life and what makes you happy, and what you're looking for accomplishing. Now there's a lot of obstacle comes in your way. How do you get through it, right? So you might want to invite your friends to help you, and you do parts of this puzzle together for sometimes. You may watch your favorite show in the background, your favorite music in the background. You may snack a little bit while you're working. You may just take a little break, right? You would just go take a little walk and come back to it. And that's literally how life is, the task you're supposed to be working on. And just because one of these puzzle cluster you're working on, let's say his career, is not working out right now, it doesn't mean that you're a terrible person, you're not good, you can't accomplish as a person. There's so many different clusters you can work on. Maybe it's not this turn right now because the pieces for it is kind of like spread it out in other clusters that you don't know. So by stopping this and working on a different cluster, let's say working on your social life, maybe pieces of the puzzle for the career comes together. You'll meet some friends who are inspiring you to start a different career or look at life differently, and you can come back into it. The goal is to complete the puzzle, not when or which cluster needs to be done. So we always learn this, right? Visually, like if you're working and something's not working out and you're getting so frustrated, what do? Step away, work on another piece, another part of it, and then eventually everything comes together. And at the end part, that's my favorite part. You have all of these little clusters of the puzzle pieces together, and you're like putting them in, and everything's working so well together. And like that last pieces of the puzzles you put in, and how excited and happy you are. So those are the flow. It will come eventually, but definitely not at the beginning. So this is all I wanted to share. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have found out ways that helps you to get through life and your tasks lists and getting your life together, feel free to share that with me as well. It's a very much of a learning experience. We all are human. We're sharing the same exact structure, and we can always learn from each other and each other's experiences. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.